I know what you guys are probably thinking right now. One, what the heck is he doing back after 8 years? And two, where is season 3 of his series? Hello everyone. This is LNER Flying Scotsman back with another TWR video. The last TWR video that I made that's original was 8 years ago. That's a long time in between videos, I guess. But here I am with a TWR layout. Now this layout has a couple of a big backstory behind it. The first backstory is I posted a tweet about it to Twitter saying that if this tweet gets 50 likes, I'll make a layout video, and lo and behold, we made it to 50 likes. And it blew up a lot quicker than I thought it would. And two, this one's actually a bit of a story here. I made this layout because when I went to Cincinnati for entertainment last month, I stayed at an Airbnb with Train King James, Wooden Railway Only, Roman's TWR Empire, William Politeski, Crimson 2091, and a bunch of other users. And one of these things that we do in these big meetups is that everyone who basically drives over brings their whole, or not their whole, but a good majority of their TWR collection and track, and we make a big layout. And I never have met any of these people in person until I went to that meetup. So all of this being in a big meetup like that was kind of cool. And so we built the layout. We built 3 actually. We built one that I don't think we have any photos of. We built a second one that Master the Lemons recorded some footage on it, but those 2 were incomplete. We did do the third layout that we did was a complete layout, and Train King James made a video on it, and he's gonna post it on his YouTube channel sometime in the near future. And the plan was that we were going to take down that layout that we made and make a 4th layout that's gonna be even bigger than any layout we have made thus far, because we had more users come visit the house and they dropped off their TWR collection that they brought over, and you know, we're going to use that for the layout. Unfortunately, we never got around to making that layout, that 4th layout. So when I came back to Los Angeles, I had the little desire to, you know, make a layout and also take out all of my stuff and make sure everything's okay, because some things did get a little broken. I was a little careless when I put everything away 8 years ago, so I wanted to make sure all that's nice and organized when I took it out. I also had the drive and motivation to build a layout, so I took out all the stuff, and then, you know, I had the time, had the space, and I had, you know, an ideas and motivation and whatnot. And so this is what happened. I made a layout. So now the tour begins. This is going to be one of those old-fashioned tour videos. The last layout I made, I was in my room. This is my living room right now. And the last layout was in January of 2018. Not 2018, what am I saying? I wasn't around then. January of 2013, I should say. It was 8 years ago. It was in between filming of season 2 of my series, which never had its season 3. So I guess I'm just going to begin at Knapford Station, where Thomas is. Like, you know, where else would I do it? So here's Knapford Station. Some things in this layout that I wanted to do a little differently was to have all 4 lanes of a Knapford Station. The layout that I made in 2013, I only used 2 lanes in Knapford, and I had my Knapford Station separated. So here we have Thomas with my iron-on face, Annie and Clarabelle. 92 Gordon with 2 express coaches in the back. I have Hank with the Knapford Express coach from 1992. Birdie, and then the Soldier Ambulance. Harold, and Sir Topham Hatt. Where is he? There he is. They're all at Knapford. I guess we'll go to Thomas's line. Basically, all these Thomas, Gordon, and Hank's line, they can all converge to the 8-way switch track, which is something I probably didn't use in the last layout. It's very difficult to put this 8-way switch track in just about any layout. I'm surprised I actually used 7 of the 8 switches on the layout, I have one in a buffer that leads to where the Chinese dragon is at. But actually, it kind of cheated a little bit. A lot of these just connect back to the same basic spot, so I don't know where I'm gonna continue going. But yeah, other lines basically connect to the 8-way switch track. I'm actually gonna take Hank's line because his is a switch that either could connect to the 8-way switch or go into Henry's tunnel. And on top I have Spencer with Oates Low Coach. Douglas is pulling a good strain, and the Flying Scotsman. Now let's go to the other side of Henry's tunnel. So here you have 2 options of where to go to. You can go to, I guess, what I call Henry's Forest, where I have Luke with, he's got some trouble with the trees right now. I think Luke is narrow gauge. I don't really remember. I think he is narrow gauge. I don't really care about the gauges on this layout. I don't have enough track to make a narrow gauge layout and a standard gauge layout, so I just combine them all into one. Take this line over here, you pass the airfield where I have another Herald and Tiger Moth. You go to Daisy where she's pulling 4 milk tankers and an unpainted tanker. This switch here leads up to the Douglas's line on Henry's tunnel. Continue where Daisy's going to, you hit. My Thomas comes to Breakfast House where I have a hand car and a siding, Butch and a Soder road sweeper and Sir Topham Hatt's car. And it leads to the roundhouse. One thing I wanted to do with the roundhouse is use the 5-way switch track in front of it and then have all these lines connecting out of it, but I was kind of cut for space. Let's see where we can go. Let's go on this line where Mavis and Stafford are. Here I have them with coal cars in the coal station. It's ironic because Stafford's an electric tram. Mavis is a diesel and they're both pulling coal. It's kind of funny. Both of their lines basically reconnect to my yard right here. You know, here Stafford's goes this way. Mavis's line goes this way, and it also connects to where Daisy is. There's the honey depot. This is the yard back here. I wanted to have some sort of industrial part of my island where all these, you know, things are that I guess make it industrial. I have no idea. I've breakdown trains with the Donald, the 92 Donald. I actually sold this Donald to Mr. Stepney 55 8 years ago when I got out of TWR. Actually, it's more close to 7. And I bought it back from him this the end of last year because he was selling off his TWR, and I'm like, oh, I want my Donald back. Here's the yard back here where I use my 5-way switch track. I have Rocky, Lime Green breakdown train, Scruffy and Fred in a gray troublesome truck, and my Soda Railway repair. They're all just chilling. Use this switch here, you'll hit the grain loader where I have Toby and Henrietta, both from 1992, and their line connects back to the roundhouse. If you decide to go behind the grain loader, you'll go to where Wilbert is with the Yumster cars. There's a switch that he's on. One switch leads to my single stone tunnel, and it connects to a cross. Let me get a better view of that. It connects to a cross underneath the stacking risers. The tunnel line heads to where I put Wellsworth Station, where I have Duck, and then the switch leads to the 8-switch turntable. There's Trevor back there behind Wellsworth. That's Trevor now with the railway only, by the way. And Duck's line leads to another switch that also hits the water refilling tank from 1992 and also heads back to the 8-way switch. If you go past here, you'll go underneath this part of my layout I like to call the freeway. Growing up in Los Angeles, I was very inspired by freeways and big stacking risers, so I'll get to that part in a second. Here I have Cody and the Apple Orchard cards. I have another switch that leads to the roundhouse. No one's in the roundhouse, by the way. I have all my engines out except for a couple. I'll get to that later. And then this switch here leads to the barrel loader where I have Frank with a big barrel train, and also leads back to the
8 switch turntable. Duke's line from here also leads back to the 8 switch turntable, by the way. Like I said, all these lines basically connect to the roundhouse with switches and stuff. So I kind of cheated in making sure I use most of my 8-way switch turntable, but that's very, very difficult to put in a layout. I really thought I was either going to put this or my transfer switch destination track, blanking on the name. But yeah, I was able to fit both, which I'm really proud about. So where was I? I guess if you follow Wilbert's line, you'll hit my stop and go station where I have Rheneas and Skarloey. Let me get a better view of that real quick. All right, so here we are. I'm cutting these clips into smaller clips because I don't know how this will work when I transfer the stuff onto my computer, because I do want to edit this video and I want to have it straight uploaded to YouTube in one take, but I guess, oh well. Right here, Rheneas' line is connecting from Wilbert's line, and then I have Skarloey here. On the T-switch, it leads to one side of Knapford station where no one's at. Follow this way, you'll hit back to the 8-switch turntable. There's another crossing underneath here. That's something to know, and the line from the Knapford hits the crossing and it goes to the underneath the single stone tunnel, by the way, through another switch over here. So if you continue on this V switch, you'll hit yet another switch, which leads to where I have Ellsbridge Station. I originally wanted to put the platform on the other side here, but there's no space, so I just put them both together. Let's go follow Edward's line here. Edward's line's pulling a goods train, leads to my dock area. I'm very proud of this dock area. It actually is a loop here that you can take. You can take Edward's line, loop to this switch right here, past Rheneas, goes to the other side of the stop and go station where I have Mighty Mac with a coach, past Cranky, go to Neil, and then you're at Edward's line again. Or you can go to where I have my Brenham Bay Fishery, where I have Salty. There's a switch that leads to where I have recreated Percy Takes the Plunge. There's Percy and 2 great troublesome trucks. And then this line connects back to the main line. Where do I want to go next? I guess I can go to where I have D199, I think. Yeah, but he's Bear in this incarnation. Let's follow his line. He goes underneath the lifting bridge with another V-switch. I have Stanley pulling the soda cookie factory cars or whatever they call them. Go to the switch yard track. You can either go through the highway crossing to Knapford, where Gordon and Thomas's lines are, or you can go to my transfer table. This is the only destination from the 90s that no one brought to the meetup because it's just so redundant. You can either transfer onto Peter Sam, where he's going past the conductor's shed to hang slide on Knapford, or you can go through this switch, go to Henry's Forest, or go up to where Spencer is. I'm going to get to my favorite part of the layout right here. Starting where Spencer's line, you can either go down to Duke's line, or you can go to where Oliver is with Scruffy and Toad, past this elevated crossing where I have Stepney pulling the mail coaches, through the Soder Bay Bridge where I have Diesel. He's at a switch where you can either go down to another switch where it leads to Edward's line into the docks, or you can go up where I have the Soder China Clay cars with my 1992 Bill and Ben. Here I have Cranky, just, you know, he's able to pick up cargo loads from either the second level, the first level, or the ground level, so I decided to put Cranky there. And then Bill and Ben's line heads to where I have James and this elevated part. I started with this part of my layout. I didn't want to start with the roundhouse because I feel like I always start with the roundhouse, so I started with this part right here, and I try to make it work. and I think I did pretty well. It's basically a big stacking section. And then I have Boko with some troublesome trucks underneath. We'll get to that part of the line in a little bit. But if you continue down James's line, you hit where Cody is. I decided to put the old style Cody with Catherine. Go through the Tidmouth covered bridge, all the way around to where the Flying Scotsman is at again. Through the double wide old iron bridge. I decided to connect them right here because I was running out of space. If I didn't have this table in my living room, I would probably use a lot more space. I even found I have 8 more risers that I didn't use actually. You go to where the sawmill dumping depot is. I'm surprised I fit that in here. And then you head down to where I have my second set of sheds. I have 6 special engine sheds, all being connected to my 8-inch turntable. This connects to that line right there. Let me get a closer look actually of that. Okay, this video is going on for a little bit longer, so let's try to finish this up kind of quickly. So at the sheds here, I have Dendart, Spam Cam, the diesel, and another soda railway repair. I have another diesel at the turntable, that's Derek, and like I said, this line from the sawmill dumping depot heads down here. If you go straight, you will hit where Fergus is and another crossing, and that crossing either leads to 2 sidings for the sawmill dumping depot or to the log loader where it has their handle, and that leads to the transfer table where you have your options of going, as I pointed out so far. If you go straight from where Derek is through the crossing, you hit Duncan. This switch leads to the Signal Stone Tunnel where Fearless Freddy is at the switchyard track. If you go straight, you'll hit where Norman is with an oil car. I actually lost a second one, or I can't find it. Nothing's lost here, it's all in my room somewhere. It's my lift bridge where I have Rusty with some cabooses, and it goes through the suspension bridge, hits Stepney's line, that crosses through this elevated crossing, hits this switch where I have Boko and the troublesome trucks. You go underneath this part to where I have Bertram with the scrap cars on that side, and then it goes down, hits Toby's line, and hits Tidmouth sheds. I think I covered every nook and cranny of my layout now. I'm just gonna give an aerial view again so you can all see the layout once more before I close out the video. I used nearly every piece of clickety-clack track. I have probably 2 6-inch tracks I didn't use, 4 curves, 6.5-inch curves I didn't use, a bunch of ascending track, like 8 or 9 pieces of ascending track that I did not use. I also ended up using every destination except for my ice cream factory. That thing yellowed so much, it almost looks like it's in a Sunset or a Soda or Piss factory. Or I did not get to use, and I'm very upset about this, my mountain tunnel. You can see it off in the distance right there where Fergus is. I put the elevation parts up there just to, give some sort of background scenery there. I'm very upset I did not get to use it in this layout. It's probably the only destination I regret not using in this layout because of space and all that stuff as well. And I used every riser I have except for some of the elevation risers here without the middle part. And also because I found 10 of these risers, or not 10, I didn't use 2 of them, but I found 8 of them later last night. I was using them for something in my room that I just glossed over. So yeah, this is the layout. I want to thank everyone for watching my first video on something Thomas Winter Rally related in over 8 years. Appreciate the support. I want to thank some users for the inspiration for making this layout, like 3 Henry the Green Engine on his pictures on Twitter of his big layouts. You'll notice that this part right here I copied from him, kind of. Train King James and Romans TWR Empire for their big layouts and stuff too. Peak Grade 24 for getting me on here in the first place to make Winter Railway videos 10 years ago. I celebrated my 10 years on my 10-year, not 10 years on YouTube, because I totally not spent 10 years on YouTube, but my 10th anniversary of my channel creation this year. I think I'm basically done here with this video. Once again, my favorite part of the layout starts with the sawmill, heads to where the Flying Scotsman's at, through the Tidmouth Covered Bridge, up the second level where James is, down here, goes past Diesel, and then it loops around to the transfer table. I really like how I have that one huge level of elevation, just making a big loop around the layout, and even going up to 2 stories here. Just wanted to point that out before I finish the video. So thanks everyone for watching. This is LNER Flying Scotsman signing out for I don't know how long.